What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers just finished their Week 13 matchup of the 2025 NFL season at home against the perennial AFC favorites along with the Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills. Bills this year coming in have more holes than they normally do. They came in with, I think, 4 losses. They've been really inconsistent. They have not been the passing juggernaut that they were the past couple of years. They've lost some games they should have won. They are definitely a beatable team this year, much like Kansas City and Baltimore, and even in the NFC, looking at teams like Detroit and Green Bay. Every team in the NFL this year is pretty beatable. This is a pretty open year, and the AFC favorites, like KC, could be on the way out of the playoffs this year. And like I said, Buffalo is not the Buffalo of old. That being said, coming in, they were still 3-point favorites, even on the road against us, and have the best rushing attack in the NFL, statistically, with James Cook and Josh Allen. So still a hard team to beat. I had Pittsburgh getting blown out in this one coming in. I predicted a blowout before the season started, and I maintained that even with Buffalo not being as good as they usually are. I'm going to take this game more as an overarching thing where I talk about the general problems and less the individual players, but just kind of the systemic issues that we have on this team overall. First half of the game, Pittsburgh goes into halftime up 7-3. Defense only allows 3 points on the last Buffalo drive of the half. They get 2 turnovers early. One was an interception, and one was a fumble recovery. So Pittsburgh takes Buffalo off the field twice. Doesn't do a ton on offense, but does have 1 touchdown drive with a Jalen Warren run. Like I said, holding a Buffalo team to 3 points in the half and just having them score 1 field goal at the end of the half is really promising on defense. Offense, like I said, couldn't really get it together. Rodgers came back this week. He did start the game, had a cast, got injured for 1 series. Mason came in through a pick. Rodgers came back in. It's clear that Rodgers is still banged up. He's still hurt. He looked it here. But second half, Buffalo comes out. Right away, gets a turnover. They get a quick fumble, hit Rodgers on the blind side, pick the fumble up, go in for a touchdown, and then come back and get an interception. So right away, Buffalo makes adjustments in the first half, starts getting the pressure, and that's the end of it. Buffalo wins this game 26-7 after being down 7-3 in the first half. So second half, Buffalo wins 23-0. Our offense couldn't get anything going whatsoever. Defense got totally gashed in the run. They allowed, I think it was about, 245 yards rushing in this game, which is not only the all-time opponent's rushing record at Acrisure Stadium, but is the most rushing yards allowed by a visiting team at any Pittsburgh stadium, including Three Rivers, in 50 years. Record set today by Buffalo, mostly on the back of James Cook, who had 144 yards or something like that. Ray Davis, the backup, had about 50 yards. Josh Allen had about 60 yards. Defensively in the second half, Josh Allen breaking a lot of sacks. He is the strongest quarterback in the NFL, so you're going to expect a couple of those. He's got the biggest frame and has the strongest upper body and legs of any quarterback in the league. He's got the most sack resistance and broken tackles in the backfield since Big Ben. He's got that prototype. Made 3 guys miss on 3 potential sacks. One was on Watt, one was on Highsmith. I think the third was either on Peyton Wilson, or I think maybe Cam Hayward, one of the two, but did avoid about 3 sacks that we got pressure on, got some balls off quickly, couldn't be tackled on third downs. Pittsburgh could not get off the field on third down at all, either in the run or the pass. They were getting blocked off their gaps. They had good alignments. They had the right guys on the field, but they were just getting bullied and blocked and pushed into other blockers and sometimes reading the wrong gaps, and just everything from the scheming to the Bills blocking to not being able to get enough pressure on Josh Allen in spite of the Bills having both their tackles out of the game. Same thing happened last week, playing against a team last week in the Bears who had 2 offensive line injuries, and we couldn't get enough pressure on those guys. So, our big money ends, our big 2 starters, Watt and Highsmith, not doing enough out there. Herbig played a pretty good game overall, but even he didn't get any, major quarterback stats. It's just not a lot of pressure on defense. Let's talk kind of about the overall situation. So we'll start with Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers come back today, had a cast on, like I said, was still banged up. 10 of 21 for 117 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Now look, People are big Rodgers defenders as far as the Steeler fan groups and all the fans on different social medias, and they really hate Mason Rudolph. No one likes Rudolph. It seems most people are pro-Rodgers, and the ones that are anti-Rodgers are pro bringing Will Howard in. I don't know how you think Will Howard is going to do any better. A guy that has never played an NFL game yet and has just started practicing a few weeks ago. He's an emergency quarterback. He's a rookie. He was a low-end rookie at that. I don't see him doing any better. I was kind of excited when I saw Mason come in. I don't want to see Rodgers get hurt, obviously. After the blindside sack by Joey Bosa, Rodgers was down, so Mason came in, had one drive, and threw a pick. Now, look, Mason had a very pedestrian game last week. Nothing special, nothing terrible, but nothing great either. But I accredited that to the bad play calling. Mason was not allowed to do anything. He was being told to be super conservative. The only deep balls he was getting, he wasn't getting opportunities on. They just weren't really giving him any chances to let loose at all. So when he came in this game, I figured, okay, why don't they at least let him do what Rodgers is allowed to do? I'm not saying go crazy, but at least have a moderate game plan for Mason to come in and play. Mason does make one really bad throw. It's a triple coverage throw to Darnell Washington, who might have had a chance at it if it was thrown a little better. It was a triple coverage throw, and it was high, so it overshot a 6'7" target. It's hard to overshoot a 6'7" tight end, but he managed to do it. So Mason does come in 0 for 3, has the one really bad throw for the pick. I'm not going to defend Mason here. Look, he didn't light the world on fire last week, and he had one drive and got a bad pick here. So I'm not saying he's the savior of the team, but Rodgers has been so bad. 10 of 21 for 117 yards, and I know in this game he was hurt. He was not hurt in his previous 3 games. He's been bad now for his last 4 games. Taking out the Mason Rudolph game last week, Rodgers has had 4 bad games in a row where he has looked lost out there. He's not reading defenses that well. He's holding on to the ball too long, causing sacks. His footwork looks inconsistent and skittish. His arm sometimes doesn't look like it used to. He looks like he's aging. And I understand he's banged up, and I understand it's been cold weather, and I get all that. And I know that Aaron Rodgers is a legend. But at this point, Pittsburgh has still got a shot. Even now at 6-6, we got the same record as the division-leading Ravens. The other teams are kind of going backwards. The Ravens are also 6-6. We just went from division lead today to out of the playoffs again because of, I think, conference record or head-to-head record, one of the two. But I think our division record's the same right now. But 6-6, and we're playing the Ravens head-to-head twice still. We have 2 games against the team we're tied with for the division. And we've still got a shot at the wild card if that falls through. Now, I'll admit that I don't think Pittsburgh is going to win either of those, and I think we're looking at our first losing season, which might be in order. But that being said, I think it's time to put Mason Rudolph in there. I know this is unpopular. I know last week wasn't amazing, and I know his big throw today was a bad throw. Bad read and overthrow. I get it. But Rodgers does not look good. It's been 4 games that he's looked old, and he looks like he's not reading the way he used to, and he's missing guys. He missed Calvin Austin on a one-on-one that overshot Austin. I know Austin's a smaller guy, but he went up for it, and he had the opportunity. The defender's back was turned. He missed him on that play. He had a short slant across the middle that he missed Calvin Austin on. It was too low, and Austin had one step on the guy. Tight coverage, but Austin had the chance to catch it, and Rodgers missed it on the second target. He also had one to Roman Wilson that was over the wrong shoulder. He missed that play. He also was off on a play to Jonnu Smith that I think they said they blamed Jonnu on because Jonnu went outside instead of inside. He missed that throw. Rodgers is missing guys. Even taking the Jonnu one out saying it's Jonnu's fault, he still missed Calvin at least twice, he missed DK at least once, and he missed Roman Wilson on a deep ball. He's missing a lot of guys. I understand the whole we need more receivers. I get it. But the guys you have are not being targeted enough. And I've seen both Calvin and Roman get open. Calvin and Roman are fast. Roman's got good routes. Calvin's a good combat catcher. DK's a monster. None of these guys have gotten used the way they should. Freiermuth never gets targeted enough. Washington only got targeted enough in the fourth quarter. He was only targeted once, and he dropped one. I get it. But you're not using him enough. You're not using Jonnu enough. You don't use the guys you have. They don't even let Connor Hayward, who's one of the better route runners on our team, get any opportunities. So we're not using the guys we have, and when we finally do give these guys 2 or 3 targets a game, Rodgers is missing them. He is a big part of this problem. He is not the victim here. He's an issue. Aaron Rodgers is a problem. I would start Mason next week. I know no one's going to agree with that, and I know Mason's not the answer either, but it's not Rodgers, and Will Howard's not ready. We need a spark. We need something else, and Mason Rudolph, in spite of not blowing people away last week, gave me more cause for pause and more hope to say this guy could be unleashed and do better and improve the offense last week than Rodgers has in his last 4 games combined. We need something else. Running the ball, Jaylen Warren, 10 carries, 35 yards, and 1 touchdown. Had a nice touchdown on there, broke some tackles. 3.5 yards a carry is not going to blow you away, but he played fine today. Gainwell had 25 through the air and also carried the ball 5 times for 20 yards. He's doing a really nice job making guys miss. He had a really nice third down play that he broke some tackles on and converted. That being said, talking about Gainwell and this kind of overarching situation, Arthur Smith needs to go. The first thing I'm doing at the end of this season is getting rid of Tomlin and both coordinators. Too much talent, too much money, too many bad calls to be sitting in the place that we're sitting in. And running the ball on 3rd and 9 and not picking it up. Running the ball on 4th and goal when it was I think it was 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. Several yards away, not even close. Bad calls. We can't call this. We can't constantly go to screens. I know that Warren and Gainwell are good pass catchers, but you got to open up the offense. You have guys crowding the line. It's getting more pressure on us. It's slowing the run game down. You got to play action. You got to take shots. Even if it's 1-on-1 or 1-on-2, once in a while, you got to show the defense of the other team you're willing to go down the middle of the field, throw some go balls down the sidelines, open up your offense to at least give yourself a chance. The constant dump downs and screens and flat plays to Gainwell are not working. We have to mix it up. Aaron Rodgers, play calling, both atrocious. Arthur Smith needs to go. I'm telling you, I like the extra big man in there, the Spencer Anderson thing. I like the Darnell Washington usage this year. I like the running alignments, but you got to mix it up and you got to still be a passing team and use what you have. Arthur Smith is not doing that. Going to receiving, our leading receiver, Darnell Washington, with 2 catches today. Darnell with 2 catches for 45 yards, had a third target. He dropped that one, but 2 plays that were short catches where Darnell broke 4 or 5 tackles. The dude's a monster. The usage of him and bringing him in as both an extra lineman and as a pass catcher this year has been one of our biggest, if not the single biggest, positive thing we've found this year on the Steelers offense. Using this monster in different ways and watching him become a better athlete and a better receiving tight end and showing more of his skill set is one of the only positives this team has going for it right now. Very good. Second leading receiver was DK Metcalf with 35 yards. Gainwell's third. Your freaking third string tight end and your backup running back are 2 of your leading receivers. I'm not putting this one on Calvin and Wilson. I'm putting it on play calling. I'm putting it on Aaron Rodgers. Offensive line overall played pretty well. Rodgers got sacked once, and that's because he held the ball. Overall, the running game was okay, and the pass game wasn't really sacked aside from the one that was on Rodgers. Andrews Pete came in today because Broderick Jones was hurt. He's on IR, so he's out for the next 4 games. Andrews Pete, the veteran, came back in and started today. Played pretty well. I like what Pete did. I like what Sayamalu did. Zach Frazier, the center, had one really bad snap that cost us like 10 yards. Other than that, it didn't seem like he played that poorly, but that snap was terrible. Defensively, overall, excellent first half, terrible second half. The positives are the 2 turnovers. Brandon Echols jumps in front of a nice, I think it was a slant in the middle of the field. Echols makes a nice jump, clean pick. Very good stuff on Echols. Had a couple nice tackles today, too. I like him in coverage today. Y.A. Black comes in, plays for Derek Harmon. I like that he's in the game more. He's going to be someone who's developing more. And he's still got a long way to go, but he's making more tackles. He's bringing some energy to the team. He's credited for a forced fumble today. It really wasn't him. The ball bounced off James Cook's knee. Cook broke to the outside, had a bunch of running room, had the ball in his right arm, and had it bounce off his knee and fall out of his arms and fall into the arms of Nate Herbig, who got the fumble recovery. So recovery on Herbig. They gave it to Y.A. Black, who made the start of the tackle and was the closest defender. So we'll give Y.A. Black a cool shout out there, but he didn't actually force the fumble. That was on James Cook. The positives on this defense, I want to give 4 coverage guys. JPJ, Asante Samuel, who was called up this week and got a lot of playing time once James Pierre got hurt. So Samuel wound up going from practice squad to starter this week after Pierre went down. Played pretty well, was only really seen on 2 tackles, but didn't give anything up big on the outside. He was around a zone touchdown, but that wasn't on him as far as I could tell. So positives for JPJ, Asante Samuel Jr., Brandon Eccles with the interception, and Kyle Duggar with several nice hits. Kyle Duggar is kind of doing the Deshaun Elliott safety role where he's playing kind of box, a little bit of coverage, playing physical, getting some nice tackles. I like what Duggar's done this year. What an underrated pickup he was. I think it was a 7 for a 6 pick swap. So to get him for a late round pick, to come in and start like this and play on the Deshaun Elliott level so far this year, I've liked Duggar. So those 4 get my positive shout-outs. Defensive line is terrible. I don't know what's going on here. I like the talent. When Harmon's in there, I like him. I like Black. Keanu Benton had 3 really good games in a row coming into today. He wasn't really doing anything today. Cam Hayward had 1 or 2 nice tackles, but nothing else. You got the talent. You got the size. You got the youth. There's a lot of positives to the future of this line, but they're getting bullied. They're getting bullied to the tune of 240 yards, a record rushing here today. I know Buffalo is the best rushing team in the league and James Cook is one of the best backs, but that is way too much. They got the backup doing stuff. They can't tackle Allen. They're missing tackles. Again, they're getting blocked into other guys. The D-line's getting pushed back. The linebackers are picking the wrong gaps. Guys are missing. It's just ridiculous watching them get bullied like this. There's a lot of talent and a lot of size on this team, but negatives today for Cam, for basically all of them. Y.A. Black, in spite of the turnover, gonna give a negative to pretty much everyone that played in the front. Otamewa got a penalty today. He was playing because Harmon got hurt. All the backups, just no pressure. You can't play a team as good as Buffalo, and I know that Josh Allen's going to break a few and extend some plays, but you can't have a 0-sack day when you're playing against 2 backup tackles, especially coming off a game where we did the similar thing last week. Ridiculous. Horrible. Just terrible. Boz 0 for 0, doesn't kick at all today. Waitman, 4 punts for 161 yards. That is a 40.2 yards per punt average. 2 punts inside the 20. Nothing spectacular. 1 kind of bad punt that bounced forward. The others were okay. So 1 bad punt, 3 okay punts, nothing special there. Return game, we're not getting much out of our returners either. I think it's time to spice something up in the return game. Put Roman Wilson back there. If you're not going to use him much and he's going to get 1 to 2 targets a game, let him kick return. You got Calvin Austin punt returning. Let Austin return. If you ain't going to use these guys and you got this kind of speed, you need something. Keyshawn Williams isn't doing much. Kenneth Gainwell as a returner is not doing much. Let some other guys return the ball. See what you can do. There you have it. Offense looks very skittish. They're not getting guys the chance downfield. They're calling conservative plays. The quarterback looks bad. The play caller's bad. The defensive coordinator's bad. And Mike Tomlin is bad at this point. You can't come in here after Baltimore gives you a game against Cincinnati and puts you back in control, and you're playing a Buffalo team that scores 3 points in the first half. They're banged up. They're not the same anymore. You got a chance to win this game, just like you had a chance against a good Chicago team last week, and you lost that one too. You can't lose games like this. This is looking like Pittsburgh is going for their first losing season in a long time. They still got a shot, but the shot's very slim, and honestly, it's time to fire everyone. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments down below who impressed you in this game. I don't know why anybody would. And who did not impress you? Let's talk about it. Am I being too hard on Aaron Rodgers? Is Mason Rudolph the right starter for next week? Do you guys want to see Will Howard? Or do you think it's best to just ride the veteran until it's over this year and call this year a wash? What do you think about the coaches? Am I being too hard on the coaches, or do you fire those guys? I know what some of you think. Tell me in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe to these Pittsburgh Steelers deep dives. I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, and I hope you're getting ready for the Christmas season. Let's have some peace and love, and hopefully a Steelers win soon. Take care, guys. See you soon.